Hello, and welcome to Voices Unleashed. My name is Alexandra Babel, and I'm very happy to be here with you today. The program itself celebrates singers and their amazing contribution to our community and beyond. Today with me, I have the lovely and amazing Amanda Cawley. Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much.
I was thrilled that you were able to join us because I really want our community to know what you contribute. So tell us a little bit about yourself before we get going on this.
Okay, thanks for having me in this beautiful space.
Pleasure.
I'm primarily a film composer now. I've been pursuing music since I was about 8 years old. I started piano and I was just so drawn to writing music. So I wrote my first album and my dad helped me record it in my bedroom when I was 12 years old.
When you were 12?
Yeah,
Wow.
so we ran the XLR cables through the house down to the piano and started producing music that way. And I was lucky that I always knew music was what I wanted to pursue. So straight out of high school, I studied classical piano at the University of Victoria.
Oh, great.
I studied contemporary music at Selkirk College in Nelson, and then I dived straight into film composing because I was always drawn to orchestral music and composing for media and being part of storytelling through music as well.
Was your dad a composer?
He's not, no.
He's just a music lover?
He's a music lover, yes. So I was raised with great influences of music around the house: David Bowie, Kate Bush, Pink Floyd, lots of great music. And both my parents really encouraged this journey of music for me.
That's great. It's nice when you don't have to fight the system in order to do what you're passionate about. Yeah. That you get encouraged by your own parents. It's not always the case, but that's amazing.
It's not. Yeah.
Good for you. Okay, so you started at the age of 12. You already produced your first album. Was there the sort of platforms we have now at that time? Was there YouTube and X and all that stuff back then?
YouTube was probably just kind of coming up, but I didn't post. It wasn't a thing to do then. It wasn't a post everything online. I think I printed copies of the CD and sent it to people in my family.
Oh, adorable. Threw it over the fence. Out of all these producers.
Exactly.
That's the old way of doing it.
Yeah, it was more of a creative exploration, and it wasn't until later, much later, after I kind of developed my compositional voice, that I'd started actually posting things publicly.
So you started with classical piano. And that's a very interesting and good foundation. What a grounding way to begin.
Yeah.
So you started working with a private piano instructor.
Yes. Yeah.
And in those sessions, what would you say your teacher gave you the most? What was the thing you took from this classical foundation that you are still using at this present time?
Well, I was really grateful to go through the Royal Conservatory of Music, but I was also grateful to have a teacher that encouraged me to bring my own emotion and voice to the pieces of music that I was playing. I was always really drawn to the romantic era and where there's a little bit more freedom. I was less into the Baroque and classical, where it was like very, very technical. Great foundation. Really glad I did it. But my teacher, Stephanie Chappelle, she was incredible, and she really encouraged me to channel my emotion and connect with music in a way. And that's actually how storytelling began, because I remember I had trouble memorizing the pieces of music, so I ended up creating stories for every piece of music.
I love that.
And then what I would do is just focus on the story, and there'd be all these characters and elements in my head, and that's what I would think about, and that would help me kind of engage my emotions when I'm
memorize
playing
music that way.
and then tell the story rather than just think, oh, I'm at section B or I'm at section, so.
For me, I think
that was
that's
huge.
why I love classical music so much, and music in general. But you can take the same piece and bring 4 or 5 performers to the stage, and they would each have their own expression of that piece. It's autobiographical in some way to perform pieces in that way. And I think the great artists are bringing not only their technical prowess, but also their own history, their own emotional imagination to it, the creative expression of that. This is why it lives on and on. You can listen to Rachmaninoff performed by I don't know how many different artists, and it sounds new all over again.
Yeah.
But you didn't stay there. You were definitely grounded there.
Yes.
And then during your career as a student, were you already beginning to sing, or was this something that showed up later?
So singing for me was from the very beginning of the journey. On that first album I recorded when I was 12, it was vocals and piano all the way through. And singing was always a tool that I used to compose. Even now, anytime I'm composing for any instrument, I will sing it first and kind of hear the phrasing. And I think singing has always been the most easily accessible tool for songwriting for me, because you're free from the thinking of theory and like what scale am I and what, you just go with your gut, and you naturally phrase everything because you have to take breaths. So it ends up being very organic. So I think singing was always embedded in my journey. Yeah. It wasn't something I was quite shy about singing publicly, but I was always part of, choirs and musical theater and all that. So I was challenged in that way. But until recently, I didn't really come out of the box, was taking solos.
You sing musically and organically in a phrase and expression of musicianship. Not everyone does. This is us teaching someone to sing a phrase. It's like teaching someone to play a phrase. It's a whole thing, and it's not really something easily attained by all, but that was something you definitely brought to me when you took a few lessons with me. So those sessions we had together, I was just delighted to meet you in that way. I believe there was a little girl that was working with you and then came and worked with me, but we had that in common. But then you came yourself, and the sounds that you started to make with your voice were definitely became very free and very gorgeous. You learned quickly what it meant to make the sound up and over and that sort of thing.
Thank you.
And then later in this interview, we'll hear examples of that as we have a few clips. Speaking of clips, we've got a first one that I'd like our audience to see. Can you set that up for us?
Yeah, I believe the first clip we have is of Breathe, which is my band, Telosia, and it consists of me, my husband, Tyler, who plays the drums, and two of our best friends. And it started off as a fun project during COVID for us just to get together and keep playing music. But it kind of turned into this bigger thing, and we recorded an album with Jordan Chase, who also led me to you. I think he's an incredible producer.
I'm going to get him on the show. He's amazing.
He's incredible. And so we recorded this album, and this video is us in Jordan Chase's new studio at Utalali Studio on the West Side. And we're just playing through the song that's on our latest album called Elsewhere.
Okay, let's take a peek. There's that sound that I was telling you all about, just that freedom and purity of tone. And there you are with Tyler making music together. It's so romantic. And I also understand that you're starting a little family together.
Yeah, that's not the only thing we've made together. So we've got our first baby on the way right now.
Oh, that is so sweet. Oh my goodness, I just love that. That's incredible. What an incredible environment that your little person is going to have, right? So when you were making these, it sounded like you were doing it organically and with a lot of friendship and fun and community. Yes. I think a lot of things birthed out of COVID in that way. We were desperate for connection.
Yes.
And so many projects came to be because of that. And I just love that that's where it started for you.
Yeah.
And then we have another little clip that we want to share with our audience. Tell us about that one.
The Speakeasy?
The next
one, we are going to Athens. So this was a couple years ago. I had the opportunity to record with an orchestra and choir. So it's a 30-piece orchestra and 20-piece choir that we had in Athens. And this was part of a program in composing music for film. So this is kind of more on the orchestral, big cinematic scape sound of that kind of element that I spend much of my time writing for these
I
days.
appreciate that our audience is going to learn the necessity of diversification for a young artist. I noticed that you're not just doing one thing. Back in the day, in my day, we could do one thing, and one thing only. I am an opera singer. I am in the practice room, and this is all I'm doing. Scales, arpeggios, and memorize an Italian opera. And how did I memorize the whole Italian operas? One page at a time, and that's it. That's all I did. Can't find my house keys, but that's what I noticed young, and our last few artists have said the same thing. I have a corporate 9 to 5 and I do this, or I'm a singer, but I also do this, and I also do this. The diversification is so profoundly important.
It's a lot. And I remember, like, I did every job in music. I said to myself, you know, I don't want to do any job outside of music, but I did everything in music. You know, I did teaching, which I loved. I did wedding DJing, which I didn't love. Lots of live gigging, you know, everything that helps you just like piece together a normal income. And until you get to the point, and even, you know, at the start of my composition career, you were not working on big enough budgets to bring in a mixing engineer and to bring in an orchestrator. So you end up wearing all those hats yourself. And it's only, I feel like, as I elevate in my career and get to the higher up contracts, that it's like, oh, now we've got the budget to bring someone in and we can have this support, and then I can just focus on
the work ethic of young artists. It's profound. Wow. Well, let's take a look at this clip.
Okay.
Like that? Very beautiful. Oh my goodness. That must have been so gratifying.
Yeah, it is. It was just like a whoa moment, you know? Because usually when you record, you know, writing for orchestra and stuff, you're putting in all the layers yourself at home. You're programming everything.
Right.
So to hear it all being made in real time like that.
With real instruments, acoustically, and then engineered in that way. Wow.
I
must
love
have
it.
been a highlight.
It is. I live for that. I love that.
Continue to do that work.
Yeah, that's kind of like the peak. That's what I absolutely love doing, is working with live orchestras.
Oh, I got it.
Rarely does the budget or time frame come along. Like, I work on a lot of episodic TV series where it's an episode a week. And so there just isn't the time to go to Europe and record with an orchestra or something like that.
I'm sure it's not your last time, though.
No.
And then we got one last clip, and there's a little resistance actually in putting this one out because of the quality, but I insisted, and I'll tell you why, my friends out there. This young lady performs live in such a wonderful way. And I just need you to see what she does on stage. This is at tell us where this is.
Yeah, this is at Crown and Thieves Speakeasy. So it's a beautiful winery in West Kelowna. Me and my husband got married there.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And we had our party in the Speakeasy, and oh my gosh, it's underground. It's very romantic. Velvet curtains, beautiful setting, incredible sound.
Oh,
definitely worth checking out.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. And I go there often, sneak over there often, to get a little music in and a little dancing. Well, you'll see. You'll see. Let's take a peek. Oh man, isn't that fun? I don't know if anybody noticed, but there was this blonde jumping around and dancing in the front row. That might be somebody that you.
I was scared. I heard that you were coming and I was like, oh no, now I really need to perform vocally.
I am such a big fan.
Yeah.
And then the little girl that was next to me, that's Layla Gershoni. She's going to be a guest coming up. What a brilliant young. She's only 12. Or 11.
She's 12.
She's 12. She's where you started.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
She's a prodigy. She is incredible.
Absolutely. She's one of those students that come in and it's a rare feeling, this talent and the responsibility to guide this talent. But she's already won several provincial. She's on her way to an international competition. She's big time. And she also recorded with Jason.
With Jordan. We were just in a couple months ago and her first recording studio experience, and she nailed it. She was not intimidated by the vocal booth, any of it. She just gave it.
We're gonna have Layla pretty soon. I think she comes by. Honestly, her dad and her mom are right behind her, like yours. And so isn't it gratifying to see it going on and on into the next generation?
It is. It's so nice.
Amazing. Anything else you wanted to tell us about before I let you go?
Ooh. Yeah, I wasn't prepared for that. No, I think, I'm really happy to be a part of this community. And thank you for everything that you've offered me, because in those few sessions we took together, I really felt like I learned how to come into my body with singing and learned that it's not here, it's a whole body experience, and
100%.
It's spiritual and it's grounding 100%. And it's a lot of things. So I really appreciate you and what you've offered me too.
Well, how can people find you?
They can, so I've got a website. They can get in touch through email. I've got Instagram and
so what's your
YouTube channel.
Website? Is it your name?
It is. It's AmandaCawley.com.
And what's your Insta handle?
And my Insta handle is Amanda Cawley Music.
Great. Yeah. Great.
So people can follow along. There's lots of content there now.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being my guest today.
I'm
so happy we got to do this. Kelowna Now, you rock. Yes. Everybody, please please subscribe. Please put this on your Facebook, Insta. Kelowna Now deserves all that it's giving to our community. And it's a crazy time right now for media. You may not know all that's going on, but the fact that these guys are still going is amazing.
Yeah.
So thank you all. Thank you, Jason, our producer. And thank you, Kelowna Now. Thank you. And see you all next time.
Thank you.